Hello and welcome to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. My name is Melissa Hemming, and if a life coach and a therapist had a baby, you would get me. I'm so excited to welcome you here today. I have Mary Newell that I talked to about her incredible running journey. She'll blow you away. I just am so inspired by her, and she makes me want to go run 25 more trail Ragnars just because I want to challenge myself and grow and be a badass like Mary when I'm turning 75. So amazing, just amazing. I wanted to remind you all that It's Your Effin' Breakthrough. The next round is open for enrollment. We are going to be starting this 3-week small group coaching course not April, August 18th. August 18th, we start. And what you're going to learn to do in this program is, first of all, focus on yourself and your mental health, and in a way that really pours into yourself and also leaves you really focusing on your own breakthrough. And, I'd like to say that it can be X, Y, and Z, but it's really funny because a lot of the people that have done this program before have started out with a particular goal, and so many things have come up as a result that they're able to work through and really hone in on creating a better life for themselves, setting better boundaries, learning to prioritize their own self-care more, having difficult conversations, learning communication skills. Like there's so many things that the women in the program have been able to do, and I can't wait for you to have your own breakthrough. So we're going to start August 18th. It's 3 weeks. It's like 10 minutes a day to really move yourself forward. These are the prompts and the things that I help women with in my own therapy practice, and I want to bring it to you to help you do the same. So that includes daily prompts for the 3 weeks, and also every single week we're able to get on Zoom together and have a group coaching session. And those have been really helpful too, so that the women can hold each other accountable in a really safe space, and also bring any aha moments that they've had to group coaching that I can help them work through, and then plan for the next week. So enrollment is open. The link is in the bio. I can't wait to see you there. Without further ado, what time is it? Podcast time. It's a celebration. What time is it? Podcast time. Let's go hear Mary. Hello and welcome, Mary, to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Anytime I can talk about running, I'm
Oh my gosh, I
excited.
know, right? Runners love talking about running. So I was looking at your very impressive Athlinks. Do you use Athlinks, the
No,
website? Oh my God, you have to
no.
go. I noticed because you didn't claim any of them. You have quite the resume of races.
I think I tried to sign up years ago and maybe I registered one and I don't know, it just got too much. I'm
Oh,
a real
okay.
simple person,
It's
but
awesome
I have
because
done
it
a ton.
shows them all together. So it
Yeah,
all your races are there. It's so cool. But
so I
all
will
of yours
go.
are still there, and they are like I was like there were I think 300 races or something. You've done a lot of
I've done a lot.
races. When
Right,
did you
right. So
start
I'm going to
running?
go. I started running officially because I did try a couple of times. I first tried to run in my sort of late 20s, maybe 27, 28. And my upstairs neighbor was a guy who was a runner. And so that would have been in 78 when running, that was the first running boom.
Yeah.
And he was a runner and we kind of, and so he said, would you like to go for a run? And so, me, sure. But then we had to get running shoes. So we went to the store and that's what Nike's had just come out with, that waffle iron thing. And I got the ugliest, I just could not believe. And I have little skinny legs, and to have this big, I mean, it looked like I had planes on my feet. But anyway, so I ran with him all of twice. The first time he kept saying, we'll just go 3 miles and let me know whenever you want to slow down, you or walk, whatever. And of course, I was just trying to be tough. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
hang.
I'm keeping.
So I got back, and the next day I was so sore. My legs felt like concrete. And that, I think I did one more time with him, and then that was over, and he was over. So I didn't do it again until it was after I moved to New Haven. So maybe it was in the mid 90s. One
Okay.
of the guys that I was at the gym with ran with a group on Saturdays, and he told me that this was like lawyers and judges, and he told me about this group and he said you should come run with us sometime. And so I did, and I ran with them. But it was same thing. It was so hard. I never understood the fun of running. And I live in a neighborhood in New Haven where people run all the time. And all of the years that I've lived here, but New Haven, they run,
Yeah.
snow, sleet, blizzards, rain, night, day, 2 in the morning, you're gonna see somebody out there running,
Yeah.
and I would, I was curious. I would look at these people as they ran past my house and think, what is it that I missed? I just didn't understand why people would continually do it, and especially when the weather was not good or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I ran with these guys a few times, and then I stopped that because it was too hard. So then as menopause, and I'm going to be 75 next week. I'm putting that
You are
in. My
amazing.
birthday
That is
is July
amazing.
24th, so I will be 75 next week.
Wow.
So I started going to the gym. I started going to the gym maybe in my mid 50s. Now, I had done all kinds of, I've always been concerned about my weight, and I've struggled with it from the time I was a kid. And, I did all kinds of diets. And I started out with Jack LaLanne when I was like in late elementary or early junior high school, because it was around puberty, which is when I really got self-conscious about my body, and then just trying to make myself skinny. I wanted to
Yeah.
be skinny. So I have always exercised, but I was never consistent. I've had every piece of exercise equipment you could ever order. I still have a Nordic track in my crawl space that,
Really?
way back when those things came out. When were they really popular? Like late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. And it was like $700, which back then was a lot of money. And I didn't, because I had just finished getting my doctorate and I was paying off student loans and a car payment and that. But I bought this thing, and I think I used it a total of 5 times. And, so one of the other stories was that I couldn't work out by myself. I had to go to a gym. So as menopause started coming on, I was like, the weight was going on. So in my mid 50s, I started going to Gold's Gym, which that was the closest gym to me. And it opened the earliest. And, for me, the things, if I have to do something important, it has to be early in the morning, because that
Yes.
way I know I'll never mess with it.
Eat that
That
frog.
that's protected time, that I can do anything at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I started going, and I was doing all of the cardio equipment, the treadmill, but walking fast, the recumbent bike, the stairmaster, the bike, everything. And I would see people running occasionally as part of their warm up or whatever. And it was like, but I was not a runner. That's what I had learned from those 2 times that I had tried to run. I'm not a runner. Some people can do it, some people don't. The people who can do it, run past my house and they seem to get something out of it that I don't. But I just couldn't, I didn't think I could run. And so I would be on the one day in January of 2006, and I will, till the day I die, not know what happened that morning. But I was on the treadmill walking really fast, and for whatever reason, I turned it up and I started running. Literally, that is the way it happened. I could not have told you a minute before I started running that I was going to run. I didn't think I would ever run, but for some reason, you can throw in like, well, it's a new year, trying something different, desperate, whatever. But, I started running, and it was like, I can run. I was like, I remember looking because the treadmills were up on the second level and you could look down over the whole gym. And I'm running and looking at it and I'm going, myself, I can actually run. And then the next thought was, oh my God, what is she doing? But I didn't stop. I kept running. And I think the treadmills were on timers, so you could only use it for like 30 minutes. And so I ran until it stopped, and I went on and did my weights and things, but I couldn't get over that I had actually run. And that wasn't hard. I obviously was doing it at a slow enough pace that I wasn't
Yeah.
straining myself for it. And so then the next day I went back just to see if I could do it again. And that was the beginning of me running. I love that feeling. Then one day, a friend of mine said, "You run for a half hour on the treadmill. Have you ever considered a race?" And I'm going, a 5K, I think. He said, "Have you ever considered a 5K?" And I'm going, "No." And he said, "If you can run for a half hour on the treadmill, you can do a 5K." And so then I started thinking, I'm one who likes checklists. Like I could, like in the Facebook, check all the things you've
Yeah.
done, run a 5K. So I would, I could add that to my resume. I was like, okay, I'll do it. Then I had to go home literally and find out how far a 5K was because I did not know. I didn't know trick system. So I said yes to a 5K, not knowing. But then even
At
when I
least it
found
wasn't a
out
marathon, right?
right, yes. Even though I um what was I gonna say? 3.1 miles. That's when I found 3.1 miles. Then I'm thinking, oh, 3.1 miles. And that's how far I had to walk to junior high. When I was a kid, it's like, that's like walking to Steel or running to Steel, and but anyway, so I thought, I'm going to do it. And so I told everybody. I told all my family, all my friends. I told the mailman, everybody I ran into in the grocery, I'm going to do a 5K. I signed up for the Labor Day Road Race because I think I was in Jet
New
Cleaners.
Haven.
Yeah,
That was your first race?
that was my first race. Yes, I think
I
I was
love
in Jet
that.
Cleaner after I had talked to the friend about signing up for 5K. I was in Jet Cleaners and they had the sign the New Haven Labor Day Road Race, and it was a 5K and a 12K back then. And so I signed up for the 5K, and it is such a big race in New Haven. Labor Day in New Haven is the best day to be
It
here, and I
is.
just love all of the races. So I kept telling everybody, and I was running, but I never ran outside. I only ran on the treadmill. For whatever reason, I was afraid to go outside and let people see me running on the streets like I really cared, or something. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so I get to the race Labor Day, and the crowd is all, how they line up. And so this nurse, I only remember that she was in there. She said, "Is this your first race?" And I said, "Yes." And so we talked, and she'd been running for a couple of years or something. And she told me about there was going to be a women's race up in Boston in a few weeks after the Labor Day Road Race. Yeah, you might want to consider it, even though it's twice the distance. I didn't do that. But, at the end of our conversation, she said that a book she would like to recommend was The Courage to Start by John Bingham. She said that is the best book for somebody who hasn't run before. And for whatever reason, I kept that title in I didn't think about it, but when she said the courage to start. And so I'm standing there getting ready for the race, and I'm so scared and I'm worried, like, what if I can't do it? What if, I thought I had lost my mind. What if I just wander off? New Haven used to have all these characters and they would give them names like the Shakespeare lady and stuff like that. I was going to be the running lady. I'm walking around town with my faded, dirty bib, that outfit, that same outfit I wear. I mean, this is how my mind works, though. I get crazy with things. So I'm seeing myself being the running lady. She was a psychologist doing well, and she thought she could run. And she was never the same. And the good news is that, and I really do believe this, I was never the same. I ran, once the gun went off, I ran. And I wasn't even thinking, I just kept running. And, I was surprised at all the people. I didn't know people cheered and wanted to high five and stuff. I mean, this was all just like, I loved every minute, but I kept running. And I hadn't seen the finish. So I'm coming down, what is that, Church Street, whatever the street, to the finish. And I'm looking at the thing, and there are people I'm going, that can't be the finish. Because first of all, I couldn't believe that I had done it. And it seemed like it had happened relatively quickly. So it's like, that
Yeah.
can't be the finish. And so I'm running towards and thinking, what if it's not the finish? What if I stop there? And then they say, hey, the finish is over. I mean, this is also, I'm running and go. So I just keep going because I'm afraid that it's not the finish. And then somebody said, you can stop now. And so I did. And the feeling that I had when I stopped, I had actually done a 5K. I had run a race from start to finish. I have never had a high like that. I mean, it was just such, I had trained for, and, so I got in my car, went to the Barnes and Noble in North Haven. They had the book. I remembered the title. I went, The Courage to Start, John Bingham. I remembered the title. Isn't that interesting for somebody who
Yeah.
had never heard of running or running books or John Bingham? And they had it. I came home and I started reading. And the first thing he says, if you run, you're a runner. There's no test that you have to pass, no distance that you have, no race that you have to run. If you run, you're a runner. And just like that, I became a runner. And that's what I mean when I say I was a different person when I finished the race. I was
Yeah.
a runner. And that is my identity to this day. I will tell you I'm a runner before I tell you anything else about myself. I
I
mean,
know
it
that
just,
about you. I know that. That
I
was how
I
we
love
met.
love this. I got a new identity, one that I had worked towards and created and
Yeah.
maintained. And that's the best feeling.
I love that. When you think about, because you were mentioning those other previous attempts at becoming a runner were always based upon someone else's pace. Do you think
Right, right.
the shift in you learning to love it was that on the treadmill you were able to do start at the
You're right.
speed?
I hadn't thought about that, but you're exactly right. I wasn't competing with anybody. I was just like, I turned it up somewhat faster than a fast walk. So,
Yeah.
I was probably doing maybe 13-minute miles, or who knows, who
Yeah.
cares? But
Yeah.
I was doing it, I was running. That was the
Yeah.
thing. I was
It
running,
was
and that's
your
what was
race.
it.
It was like that's
Right,
how incredible is that like that was when you were running your own race and that was when you found that
right,
joy.
right. Yes. And it is the best feeling. It really is.
So like how fast after your first race did you sign up for your second race and how quickly did
I
it
think I signed up the week later. It was there was a 5K. It was the Tommy Fund. I don't know if they still have that. The Hospital of St. Raphael's, they used to have this K that was maybe 3 or 4 weeks after the Labor Day road race, and it was for children with cancer. And
nice.
so of course I loved the Labor Day road race so much. I signed up for that one. Then I signed up for someone in North Haven, someplace. The Woodbridge Road Race, because all of those
Yeah.
happened around the same time. The 5K. So I did the New Haven Road Race, the Woodbridge Road Race, and the Tommy Fund. And I think by then it was like October, November. I don't think I did a Thanksgiving race that year. But once I finished the New Haven Road Race, then I started running outside. And after I read John Bingham, who gave me permission. to
Yeah.
run outside. But that book is so good, and I still recommend it all the time because it's just. Have you ever read it?
I don't think I have. I wrote it down though,
You
so
might, because it's very simple. Like one of the things that he puts in there, it's all the tips on how to run and how to do races. And he says, when you get to a race, line up for the porta potty because there's going to be a line. Line up for the porta potty, then go to the end of the line and just keep doing. I mean, and all but things like that. But just basic kind of stuff. But his whole point, because he'd been an overweight guy who indulged in a lot of things and stuff. And, then one day he decided to try running. And, his whole thing in the beginning was waddle on. But that's it. You go at your own pace and, see what happens with it. So,
yeah. So
yeah. So
what's your favorite distance?
right now, I would say probably my favorite distance is somewhere in that 15K, which is 9.3, the 10 miler, and the half. That's the range, because you get a really good run in, but, you don't kill yourself. You can go to your race in the morning and still have the rest of the day. And particularly if you like to travel for races and that, if you run a marathon, it's like that's it for the day. All you're going to do is eat, and talk about the race, but you're not going to feel like, going around and all that. So somewhere between the K and the half marathon. Although I love all the distances, I love 5Ks, I love marathons, I love ultras, it's just mainly seeing what I can do. That's
Yeah.
that's really the motivation behind all of it. Can I do this? Can I do it faster than I did it last time? Or can I do, whatever. But can I do it? And
So what are
that's
you
always a
working
yes.
on right now? Do you have like a goal that you're working on?
Oh God, you're gonna think I'm crazy. So for my 70th birthday, I ran 100 miler, the Pine Creek Challenge. That was in someplace in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, some burg
Wow.
out Pennsylvania. But I had known people who had done 100 milers, and it's just sort of like I really wanted to mark my 70th birthday in a big way, and
Say
I
you
think.
did it.
And so, I trained, and that was during the beginning of COVID and the lockdown. And the whole time, we didn't even know if that race was going to be approved, but they kept not canceling it, whereas all the other races got canceled. So I kept training, and it kept me sane during the beginning because, I live alone. So I needed something to work on. And
Yeah.
I just would go out and run, and most of it was up and down Whitney Avenue. That's the simplest route for me because Whitney goes past Waterbury, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I run up and down to Cheshire. That's the farthest I run, but that's 13 miles. I mean, the Cheshire Academy, 13 miles from my door. So I just would go Saturday and Sunday and then a couple of days. So it's what I'm willing to work towards. So right now, for my 75th birthday, and this race will be in October, I'm doing a 12-hour endurance race.
Wow.
And that's a lap. It's a 1 mile loop, and you have 12 hours to do however many you want to or can, and so that takes the pressure off. I've done 50 milers, so but I always get nervous with cutoffs. It's like there's sort of that extra, you got to make that cutoff.
Yeah.
With an endurance race, it's whatever I want to make it. I can just do 26 miles if I want. I can do whatever I want to do.
I
But
love that.
um
That's awesome.
yeah,
So where is that?
it's in Hainesport, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
It's October 11th, I think, is the
Okay.
date. And some friends of mine who I met in my 100 miler are going to do it. So it'll be like a reunion. And you know how the running community is, and particularly in 100-mile race. Hooked up with this group in the very beginning, and we just stayed together. People would come and go, but a couple of us stayed together, and I finished with one of the guys I started with. And it's just, and we've maintained contact this whole time, and so we're gonna go back this
I
October
love
and
that.
put the band back together for farewell. And then I'll do the New York City Marathon, which is my favorite, my ultimate favorite race ever. Forget what I said about the 15. No, the New York City, if there's a race that I will always do that I love, it will be New York. This will be my ninth time running it.
How do you get
And I
in?
just, what?
Nine
Well,
plus one?
well, three of those I was a guide for Achilles. That was in the middle. My first one I ran for a charity. The second one, I think one of them I qualified for.
Wow.
One of them. But you know what? It's because they take half marathon time. So actually, it was twice. Because my marathon time is not double half my half marathon time. I can run a half marathon a lot faster than I
Okay.
can run a full marathon. So, and then other times it's been for charity. You know, I'll do, and I'm this year I'm going to do it for Team for Kids. You know, I just have to run that race. Have you
Yeah.
ever run New York?
I did it in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, there's no race like it. It's like it's the hardest of the big marathons, but the crowds are just so
It's
amazing. It's
amazing. Yeah.
just, you
It is
know,
amazing.
it's like showtime. You're a
Yeah.
celebrity for a day. Then
Yes.
that's and I have my name on my shirt so they can
Yes.
call me.
You have to. I forgot that
Right.
in Chicago and I was so sad. I literally
It
was like,
really makes a difference as you're starting to sag and whatever, and when you have people shouting, "Come on, Mary, you can do it. You got this."
yeah.
You know, all of that stuff. It's a big deal. So and then I'll do the Labor Day road race. I've done that every year except a couple times when I think I was out of town, and then one year they canceled during the pandemic. They canceled it one year, but that's my baby. That was the first, and I've done the 12 miler and the half, and I prefer the K, and that's what I've done the last several years. Is just do the 5K. And then watch the half
Yeah.
marathoners come in, which is also exciting because they get the elites. You know, they get.
Yes. That's a cool race. So,
And
okay,
then
so
I
I was going
also
to
do
ask
the
you,
Bronx 10 miler. And I'll also do which is another one of my favorite races. I love the
I've never
Bronx
done
10 mile.
that.
It's, you start at Yankee Stadium and it's just an out and back. And, they have all the elite runners in that. So you're seeing people and the crowds once again. It's down the Grand Concourse or whatever the main drag in the Bronx is. And, there are people cheering you on the whole time. And it's like, it's probably out of all the New York Roadrunners races, it is the most diverse. I mean, every running club, every ethnicity. I mean, it's just like
Well,
such
that's
a great,
nice.
great race. Yeah.
So, speaking of New York, I did the New York City half this April, or was it March?
My
March.
second
March.
most favorite race. My second most favorite
It's
race.
like the New York City Marathon, but half the mile.
Yes, right. It is exactly like the New York City Marathon, except half the distance. That's
Amazing.
my second. So there's my three: New York City full, New York City half, and Labor Day road race. Those are my
I
three.
was literally gonna ask you if someone like a new beginner runner came to you and said, "What is the race I must do?" You would say New Haven then.
Right, right. Oh, definitely. It's such everybody comes out for that race. That it's just changed so much. I remember, and so that would have been Labor Day of 2006. As I'm standing in the crowd and I'm going like, I don't even belong here. I've lost my mind. And I said, there aren't even any black people here. And that was true back in 2006. There was two guys, and they weren't together, but I would occasionally see two black guys running around, and that was it. And at
Yeah.
so many races in the beginning, the local races, I was the only black person in the
Well,
race. But I still
Black people are very underrepresented in running.
Yeah, but they're much more represented now. I mean, we still got a long ways to go, but more people are running every day. And the story I wanted to tell you. So I did
Yeah.
those 3 5Ks in 2000, and then I took the winner because I didn't think there would be any race in the way. And then in March there was some race up in North Haven for mitochondria. It was some kind of disease that had to do with mitochondria, but it was just like it was a race in March. I came in second. That was my first medal. And it was like, and so I started winning medals. And in my age group, but except now, in these older age groups, I don't know where these women are coming from, but they are running fierce. It used to be so easy to come in my age group, but now I got some serious competition.
Really? And are most age groups that you run, or the races that you run, is it 70 to 74, or do they put it in the 70 to 79?
Well, it's starting to, and some of them are like 70 and over.
I know, I hate those.
They don't even break it down. Some of them, like the New York Roadrunners races, all still do the 5 year, and the Labor Day races all do the 5 year. Like last year at the road race, I came in 10 minutes slower than I did this year. Or, well, 2 years ago and then last year. And that time I was like second or first or second.
Oh,
This
wow.
time I was like fourth. I was like fourth, even though I ran it fast. And that's when I'm starting to see some of the races. Like I did the climb to the top of the World Trade Center. Last year, when I did in like 38 minutes. This year, and I was second last year. This year, I did it in 31 minutes and I was like fourth or fifth, So it's like you cannot predict anymore. But there are a lot, and, I've been on a lot of the Facebook pages, women 70 and over, and that. There's some fast women out there over 70. And
Wow.
I think a lot of women are also getting started running just to see if they
Because they're
can.
reading that book. They've got the courage to start.
Yeah, it's just so it's great. I love what's happening with older women in running. I really do. I think it's great. So,
That's amazing. So, how do you keep your mindset right during a race? Do you struggle with mindset at all when you're running?
my attitude when I start a race, no matter what the distance is, get it done. And so it's like, so there aren't any, I can't, oh God, it's too hard. It's too hard. It's like I got to finish, that's,
Yeah.
so what, I can sing, I can listen to my music, I can high five that little kid over there, whatever. But, it's like, get it done. It doesn't matter what your time is, just get it done. And so that cuts down on the distractions, if it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to finish.
Whatever it takes.
Right. Exactly. Whatever it takes.
I love that. So, and do you travel? I know you've done Disney races.
Yeah. I've gone all over the world
Oh, have
to
you?
do. Yeah, my first marathon was the Chicago Marathon in 2008. Then that January I did the Disney World Marathon, January 2009. But when I came back from the Chicago Marathon, I was on such a high from that and I didn't feel that way that night because I had finished the marathon, get on the plane, get to Hartford to get to New Haven. So I got back to New Haven. It must have been like 2 in the morning. I think I probably slept in my clothes. And I woke up the next morning and I was sore. And I thought, did I actually run the Chicago Marathon yesterday? And I think I rolled over something and I felt the soreness. Again, it's like, I did it. I did it. So, a friend of mine, when I had told her that I was going to run the Chicago Marathon, she told me that her favorite marathon was the Venice Marathon. and she no longer ran because she got some kind of injury there. But the Venice. So when the next day I emailed her and said, "How did you find out about the Venice Marathon?" It didn't occur to me that people would travel to do marathons. How did you find out about the Venice Marathon? And she told me about marathon tours. So I went to their website and they had their calendar of race vacations, and they had marathons all over, but the one that caught my eye was the Great Wall. And I was like, that was my third marathon, the Great Wall of China.
That's amazing.
You could, yes, it is. And if I had known how hard that was going to be before I signed, but that's a good thing. And that's been so true of so many of the races I've done. I just sign up and then I find out. Okay.
What
But
made it
see, then that's,
hard? The
that's in my,
elevation?
oh yeah, well, the stairs. It's like you have to climb. And I mean, the elevator and those stairs, and they're not uniform. So there's some as short as maybe 2 inches, some like 12 inches, and they're in different states of disrepair. And some you're up on these like really tall peaks, and you only got an iron bar to hold on to. And
My God.
it's a and the thing is, you're only on the wall at 3.5 miles in the beginning, and you have to come back over that to get to the finish. So you know exactly what you got to do when you come back the second time. But then when you come off, you're in these little goat paths. And so that's where people tend not to get injured on the wall, but they tend to twist their ankles or stuff, have falls and that, running on the path. But then you run through these villages that are in nobody's tour book, and it's like the event of the year for the marathoners to come through. Kids throw flower petals, they give you candies and stuff, and they cheer you on. But it is I think it took me 7 hours, and it was so funny. When I came back, as I'm getting to the wall, there's this guy sitting on the steps because he's got to go up too. And so I just sat down next to him, and he turns out he's from Australia. And he says, "The only thing I can think about now is a Big Mac." And because there was no food. That was the other thing. They said bring your own provisions, but what I'm thinking is like goo, and it's
Yeah.
like, because there's no place, for them to have aid stations and stuff like that. And to be out there
I,
that long and just starving. And so he said, all I can think about is a Big Mac. And we sat there and talked about a Big Mac, fries, and a shake for like, I don't know. And don't you know, when I finished that, because our hotel was across the street from a mall that had a McDonald's in it, don't you know, I went to that McDonald's and got the Big Mac, large fries, and strawberry shake. It was so good.
wow. So your first marathon was Chicago, second was Disney, third was Great Wall.
Yeah, I had originally Disney was going to be my first marathon when I decided I was ready to do a marathon, which was after I did the More Women's Half. Remember when More used to do the women's marathon and half in Central Park? And I did
Yeah.
that in April of 2008. When I crossed the finish line of that, I knew I could do a full. I knew because all I had to do was add on to my long run. So I asked another guy at the gym who was a marathoner what would be a great first marathon, and he suggested Disney World. So I signed up for that for January of 2009. Obama was running for president then, and I was on the Obama team. And the runners for Obama decided they wanted to do the Chicago Marathon as a fundraiser. So I had to do it, even though I had, because I said, I would rather do this one. And if, I can't do Disney World in January, so be it. But I want to
What
do
what did
the
you do on Obama's team?
and I mean that I wasn't like a work. No, I mean the team, as in I was just another person who raised. I did not work for Obama. They cancel that. I mean, when I think of the team, the team of runners, the team of people who were trying to
Yes,
get
yes,
him
yes, yes,
elected.
yes, yes.
No, no,
Gotcha.
no. I did not.
I'm like,
No, I
what?
never said that. I never said that. but I was a runner for Obama, and
Got it. That's
so
awesome.
I did the Chicago Marathon. So that's how that ended up being my first
Yeah.
marathon, and because it was November or October, and then Disney World was January, and Great Wall of China was May, and then New York, that was my fourth marathon. So, but the thing is, when I was on that China trip, there was a busload of us, and they talked about all of these marathons all over the world. Oh, you got to do this one, and you get Big Sur, Rotterdam, the Reykjavik. I mean, that I got introduced very early to the idea of traveling and running,
Yeah.
and that was what was so great about that trip to China. Was I met these wonderful people. Some of them I'm still friends with, and then others I'll run into at a race and go, weren't you?
So how many
It's such a
marathons have
good.
you done now?
God, it's in the 70s somewhere. I just don't, I stopped count, literally, because I don't know what my times are, I just do them. And I was just
They're
going,
all
there
on
were times.
athletes. I saw them.
Yeah.
They're all on athletes.
I just, and some of them, like, the ones where I was a guy for Achilles back then, you didn't get your name on those. You ran on the runner's bib number, the disabled athlete's bib number. So those didn't count. I did a couple of, I did the Race Across America, which was 5 marathons in 5 days. I ran from Fredericksburg, Virginia to Washington, D.C. And we ended up, because they had to make up time because they had lost time coming from California. So we were running almost 30 miles a day for like 5 days in a row. I mean, so,
Wow.
I've done all kinds of things, but, so yeah, I have been all over the world. I haven't run in Australia. I haven't run. Where else would I not have run? Because I've run everywhere else. So
Do you have a
Australia.
least favorite marathon?
I can't say. Well, but then see, there are different reasons to like marathons. I was going to say, those 5 days of running through Virginia, but I ran through rural areas, and just the pastoral kind of nature of it, even though, and that was hot. It was hot, and those runs were long, and you were pretty much by yourself because, everybody was it's sort of like a trail race or something. You were pretty much on your own unless you could run fast enough to stay with the couple of people in the front. You were pretty much on your own just to finish. There's, I would say I probably wouldn't do the Great Wall again just because it was so hard and it was so hot. But then there's a part of me as I watch, and see posts from people who have done it recently, and it's like, I wonder if I could improve that time
I
now
love
that I
that. I
know.
love the
I
way
mean,
you
it would,
think.
and that's the thing is there's always, I wonder if I could improve my time now. What now, knowing what I know. I mean, that was just my third, and I've never had a coach, so I don't, everything I've done from reading books and talking to people and stuff. So, but now with almost 20 years experience under my belt, I think that the Great Wall wouldn't be nearly
That's
or
challenging.
less
Yeah.
as it was back then.
Yeah.
So
I would that's a safe to say that that's true. I mean, look how strong you are. And that's what I
yeah,
wanted to ask you. Has your mindset about weight shifted? Because I know you mentioned in the beginning the goal was always skinny.
yeah. Well, the thing is, once I started running, I was just like, I was focusing so much on running that I wasn't paying attention to, so everything I could to help me run. So, if I was going to go out for a Saturday long run, I wasn't going to eat something, Saturday morning of kind of sloshing around or that. So I had been kind of health conscious, but I got a little more. I mean, I still eat meat and bread and all of that stuff, but in proportions. And then one day I noticed that my clothes, the waist was loose. And I was like, and I hadn't even paid attention to that. But I started, and so I have not worried about my weight since I started running, basically. And my weight has been consistent. I feel super good about my body. Although last night I saw some wrinkles. You know, no matter how much muscle in that you have, after a certain age, there's still that crate stuff. And when you're doing a plank and you look down and you see, oh,
I think that's everyone. Everyone's got that,
yeah,
right?
I know, because we all,
We're
this is
imperfect.
what happens. This is
Yeah.
what, but I have never felt so strong.
Yeah.
Just the the confidence, and that's the thing that running gave me was
Yeah.
confidence, and that's why I love it. And I just keep getting my shot.
Yeah.
Each race, each effort. Let's do this. Let's give this a try. It's amazing.
So what do you have coming up? Do you have any races coming up this month or?
Well, no, actually, no, I don't have anything until the Labor Day road race.
Okay. So how do you
Yeah.
keep yourself going without
Oh,
races?
I run 4 days a week, regardless. Whether there's
Always.
a race coming, that's it. I run 4 days a week. Saturdays and Sundays are my long runs.
So what do you run if you're running long and you don't have a race?
If I'm running long, I don't have race 10 to 12.
Okay.
No more than that. So I do an hour and 15-minute endurance run. Try to get an hour and 15 minutes figuring out within that intervals or something, because 1 day a week I do speed, all the rest are easy. I do not do the
Yeah.
hard, hit kind of, stuff. Although right now, because of the bridges in New York, I'm doing hill repeats 1 day a week and I
Yeah.
was doing those when I was preparing for the climb up the tower, because that's the best way to do that. So I run Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. I do the hill repeats alone, so that's like an 45-minute run on Thursday mornings, then Saturdays and Sundays. This Saturday, I will do 14 miles, and then on Sunday, I'll do 10. So,
Good for you.
but yeah, so I run 4 days a week year round. That's just.
That's,
I'm one
I
of those
love that. I
people.
can't
I'm
do
one
that.
of
Or
those
I can.
people I used to look at. I'm one of those people. You
You
say, what
are.
is?
You certainly are. You became that person. Well, you are such an inspiration. I don't know how, I mean, we connected on Facebook, maybe in like a running group or something, and I've just been watching you shine.
Yeah, yeah. Life is good. Life, I am so happy. I really am. It's just,
What do all your
it,
friends and family think now? They must be amazed by all the
oh,
things that
they
you've
are.
done.
I mean, I'm 75. I'm going to be 75 next week, and I'm still going strong and looking
Yeah.
good and enjoying life, enjoying life. And that's, I think, the thing of, appreciating every moment, not taking any of this for granted, because I know it can be over just like that.
Yeah.
Just grateful for every single moment of it.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your time and sharing all of your stories. I appreciate you so much.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Well, enjoy your weekend and keep us posted on your birthday run.
Okay. Oh, I will do on the 12 hour. I was gonna say I will do 7.5 miles Thursday morning. I always run my age
Oh,
in
good.
miles, so 7.5, not 75.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay,
All
so
right, take care.
do I need to stay on until?
I'm gonna. Oh my gosh, I hope you loved that so much. Mary is such a bright, shining star, and I can't wait. I got to go down to New Haven to see her Labor Day. Hopefully, I'll see you all there too. Just wanted to remind you about It's Your Effing Breakthrough, August 18th. We're going to blow you away with a breakthrough, and you're going to blow yourself away with a breakthrough. I'm just the catalyst, and I love to watch from the sidelines as you take hold of your life in a really empowering way. Also, wanted to remind you that 2 times a month, I have bonus podcast episodes that come out that do a deep dive into the podcast, behind the scenes, sort of like mental health tidbits that I add in, also just behind the scenes stuff that you get privy to when you join the exclusive content and support the podcast. But thank you for doing that if you already do, and the link is going to be in the show notes to join. Thank you for being here. If this episode reached out to you or spoke to you or inspired you, please take a screenshot, share it on your social media, and tag me. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.